All right. So running back rankings here. It's the tier rankings. So there's 5 tiers, one being the best, five being the worst. I'm just going to go down the list and say where each of these ended up in each tier. If you've been listening to the podcast where I preview each team, this will maybe give you more insight into why I had specific teams in specific spots in terms of their position rankings. So let's get into it, and we'll start things off from the bottom and work our way up. So right off the bat, we do have, you have the Miami Dolphins, who, Myles Gaskin, Malcolm Brown, they're fine. Jets, another team where Michael Carter, who is a 4th-round pick, maybe he could show something and be solid. Ty Johnson, I thought, showed some flashes in Detroit. He is a 3rd-year player, and they have Tevin Coleman, who barely played last year, but obviously did have success in a Shanahan scheme back with the Falcons when they went to the Super Bowl. So maybe they can recapture that in a similar scheme we expect, given, the fact that Mike LaFleur, of course, coached with Kyle Shanahan, so that could be something. Cardinals, like Chase Edmonds, like James Conner, but none of them are guys who are really moving the needle for me. Kind of feel similarly with Tampa Bay, to have Giovanni Bernard, Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, and Keyshawn Vaughn, but just because you have a lot of guys doesn't now make it better. You can only put 1 or 2 guys on there at the field at the same time. Makes it a little better for sure, but it's not a star-studded group for me. And then for the last spot, I like Miles Sanders. Not crazy about Miles Sanders. You could argue he should be higher, but that's kind of where they're at. Kenneth Gainwell, 5th-round pick. He could be something as well, but I do have him as tier 5 for now. All right, tier 4. So starting off with the Texans, you got superstar David Johnson, totally better than DeAndre Hopkins. Oh, man, poor David Johnson. Every time you bring him up, you got to think about that. He was a good player. It's not his fault he got traded. Philip Lindsay, I liked as well. And, Mark Ingram, Rex Burkhead. They got some guys. Again, I kind of just said, I don't care how many players you have. I do care. I don't know why I said that with Tampa Bay. If you have more players, that does give you a higher chance of one of them reaching their full potential for sure. Number 26, there's the Buffalo Bills with Devin Singletary and Zach Moss, who I like. Also, Matt Breida, who has a career 4.9 yards per carry, so that's a thing. Number 25, there's Mike Davis, who I think is good with the Atlanta Falcons. I like Mike Davis. He was really good last year. The question is, how well can he repeat that? I think that's the question. 24, San Francisco 49ers. They drafted Trey Sermon. They added Wayne Gallman. They have Jeff Wilson Jr. and Raheem Mostert staying on. So, again, a lot of talented guys and players who we've seen do well in that system. Raheem Mostert done very well in that system. 23, you have the Kansas City Chiefs. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is interesting to me. I'm looking forward to seeing exactly how well he will really blossom in this Chiefs offense in the second year. Could he take that second year jump? Although rookie halfbacks tend to, no pun intended, hit the ground running. Edwards-Helaire didn't exactly do that, but he wasn't awful either. He just, a lot of times it was just, he wasn't getting touches. Number 22. So this is, the Ravens were 22 before the J.K. Dobbins injury. That would have dropped them down. But I do like Gus Edwards. So I'm not sure if it would have dropped them out of tier 4, to be honest, because I still think that Gus Edwards is pretty good. Tier 3, you have, so for the Lions, you have DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams. I think Williams has proven to be a good number 2 guy. I liked what I saw from Swift last year, so I would have them here in tier 3. The Steelers, it's Najee Harris. You have Benny Snell as well, okay? But Najee Harris is their guy. For the Broncos, Melvin Gordon and second-rounder Javonte Williams. Didn't really understand that pick. I thought there was other ways they could have gone, but they wanted to go Javonte Williams there. So, okay, fine. He's a solid player, and so is Melvin Gordon. So they're tier 3 here. For Washington, Antonio Gibson, I like a lot. You got J.D. McKissick as well, so there's talent there. For number 17, you have the Dallas Cowboys. They're interesting because you have, obviously, Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. It's possible that Tony Pollard is the starting halfback by the end of this season. That's totally a legitimate thing that could happen. I know Elliott, obviously, huge name, but you can't just start a guy because he has a big contract and a big name. You got to start the better player, especially when you're Mike McCarthy and you don't know how many years you're going to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys if things don't go well. You got to play the best player, and that might be Pollard. That probably was Pollard last year. So usually running backs don't get better as they age. So that's the concern for Elliott. Number 16, I like Austin Eckler a lot for the Chargers. Also like Justin Jackson. Number 15, again, this, the Cam Akers got banged up. This was before that. I like Darrell Henderson, though, as well. And they added Sonny Michel, who could be good. So I'm not sure how far it drops them back. It does drop them back, though. Maybe to tier 4. I'm not exactly sure. Number 14, so you have Damian Harris, you have James White, and you have Ramondre Stevenson, who I'm a big fan of. So I'm also a huge fan of Damian Harris. I think that, if he can stay healthy, he could be awesome. This could legit be like an insane running back room if these guys stay healthy. Number 13, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. You got Joe Mixon. He's very good. Didn't have his best season last year, but, is still a very good halfback. So that's interesting. Number 12, you got Chris Carter, who I like. I think Chris Carter is one of the real underrated halfbacks in this league. Rashad Penny does have 5.1 yards per carry in his 161 career carries, which is interesting. Not what I would have guessed. And you have Travis Homer, who I like his name. I have that in my notes as well. Okay, tier 4. I like the Bears. I like the Bears running back room because I like David Montgomery. David Montgomery is very good. And you have playoff Damian, you have Tariq Cohen, but really it's Montgomery, one of the real underrated backs as well. So I like him a lot. Usually if you're a back with a bad offensive line, you're not going to get a ton of attention, but Montgomery's good. For the Jaguars, again, they were here when they had Travis Etienne, but you still got James Robinson and you got Carlos Hyde. So part of why they were here is because of their depth. So that works out when, unfortunately, Etienne does go down. Still got Robinson who can fill that role. Number 9, Saquon Barkley for the Giants. I think some people would have him higher. I haven't seen him in a season, and running backs after injuries do scare me a little bit. So we'll see how well he can bounce back from it. That's the only reason I have him a little bit lower, because he could legit put the Giants into tier 1 for sure. The Raiders, I like Josh Jacobs a lot as well. I think he doesn't get enough credit because he does play in a scheme that kind of he has to just lower the shoulder and run over guys every play. So he's not going to get those 50-yard runs. And you also, like, the Kenyon Drake deal was weird. It was, but they have him. He's a solid player. And I like Jalen Richard as well. So it's really Josh Jacobs that puts him here in tier 2. Same thing with the Colts with Jonathan Taylor, even though Naheem Hines and Marlon Mack also very good. So they got depth, but they also got like a legit player who can be a really good back. Number 6, the Packers just missed that tier 1 group, but I actually feel okay about that with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. I think there is a clear jump between tiers 2 and tier 1 for me. So this is tier 1, starting off with, the 5 guys. Let's just talk about the guys because it's less about the backups. It's Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Nick Chubb, and Derrick Henry. The Browns, you could argue the Chubb with Kareem Hunt adds to it. Even the Saints with Latavius Murray thrown in there. And listen, I like Alexander Mattison for the Vikings. But really what this comes down to is these are guys who, when you play against them, you have no choice. You have to completely disrupt how your defense operates against these guys. Maybe I shouldn't say you have no choice, but that's what teams feel like. They feel like they have no choice. You're going to see a lot of zone coverage against these teams, which can make things a lot easier to throw the ball. You're not going to see too many 2 safety deep coverages against any of these guys, which is where their value is added. It's less so about what they do, in the actual game. It's more so about just how they affect the game and how they open things up for the passing game. So yeah, that's my rankings. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.